Several stakeholders, including local and international satellite companies, as well as mobile operators and civil organizations, spent the last week weighing in on the proposed satellite framework to the ICASA panel. The regulator says new emerging technologies may require a totally different licensing framework, with the hearings chairperson Tabisa Fai highlighting the importance of the inputs from industry role players in guiding the country's approach.
We are still on a fact-finding mission. We are not making regulations. We're still trying to just find out what is the best practice and what our stakeholders would like to see. So the most compelling issues that have come out have been generally around the authorization versus registration, the blanket licensing framework, and then I think, here and there we have heard about, the HDG and HDI requirements. We've also been able to use this platform to provide clarification just in terms of what this means for other ICT markets, like terrestrial markets, like broadcasting markets.
Visiting allowed mixed views on the country's satellite licensing infrastructure and compliance. Vodacom's Maxime Naidu was amongst those who raised concerns around fairness and transformation of the sector.
One of the most important things that we believe the authority needs to remember is that it has to protect South Africa's own socio-economic interests. And we believe that that has been consistent in terms of the authority's views. In the application, however, it's important to note that the ATU framework, it can't be applied without consideration of the local legislation, regulation and the market impacts as well.
The Global Satellite Operators Association was amongst international stakeholders making representations. The organization's Lyndon Pizza says they represent 70 global companies that are calling for the easing of spectrum fees that promote satellite services.
Our understanding is the existing framework remains in place. What we are looking to do is to make minor adjustments to the existing framework to make satellite services more available to the broader public. So, of course, we recognize terrestrial operators have spent a lot of money. They're looking to protect that investment, but we don't believe that this process threatens their investment in any way.
Elon Musk's company SpaceX withdrew their participation at the oral hearings, but the company made a written submission. In the written submission, the parent company to Starlink called for an overhaul of the licensing rules to remove BEE equity as a requirement, arguing that this discourages much-needed foreign direct investment. This was supported by local lobby group AfriForum. The organization's Ernest Van Sale says Starlink has the potential to bridge the digital gap between urban and rural areas in South Africa.
Aside from the fact that race-based regulations blocking Starlink are unjustifiable, this technology would be a massive benefit to millions in South Africa. And Starlink's technology will provide rural communities and the agriculture sector with much-needed stable internet connection, which will assist with education, business, and most importantly, security.
Starlink has a presence in Botswana, Mozambique, Nigeria, and Zambia. The hearings chairperson emphasized the regulator's role in the policy process to ensure equity equivalence.
This is not about SpaceX or Starlink in any particular way. Should they want to participate in the sector, then they would follow the usual licensing processes that exist for everybody who wants to participate in the ICT matter. ICASA unfortunately doesn't regulate through the media, so until we receive a formal policy directive from the minister, we cannot respond to the minister's media publication around equity equivalence.
ICASA received over 50 written submissions that were supplemented by some oral representations. The regulator is looking to complete and make available their findings from this process in April this year. What leads from here? The ICASA panel will go back and analyze both the written and oral submissions for consideration and move to publish a findings document on a proposed new licensing framework for satellite services. Well, this is the Communications Minister looks at the 30% BEE requirement for the licensing process under the Electronic Communications Act. Katlego Logodi, SABC News in Centurion.